Moses, a poetical account of the biblical Exodus. It was just another day for Moses as he took his morning walk, when a bush that was beside him burst in flame and began to talk. Moses approached the burning bush to see what it would say. The bush said, "Come on closer, son, today's your lucky day. You'll go down to Egypt to get my people out the land. The only instrument you'll need is the staff that's in your hand. Now you'll need to convince the Pharaoh, and he has a hardened heart. But if you were to free the Israelites, then he is where to start." Moses said, "That's just too much. I don't think I can cope." The bush said, "Help me, Obi-Wan Kenobi. You're my only hope. I'm not asking you to fight. You need not shield and sword, and you will take your shoes off in the presence of the Lord." Moses said, "But he's the big dog, and I am just a flea. You should send my brother Aaron instead of sending me. Now, when I waltz up to Pharaoh with nothing but my staff and tell him, 'Hey, free all your slaves,' he's just going to laugh." Now, I'm just paraphrasing here. God doesn't speak in rhyme. But basically, he said to Moses, "I'll be with you the whole time. You just go to Pharaoh and you tell him I'm the boss. If he chooses not to listen, then that'll be his loss. And if it truly makes you feel at ease, then you can bring your brother. But if I didn't think you could do it, I would have called upon another." It wasn't easy convincing Moses. It took some persuasion. But God knew all along that he was right for the occasion. So Moses and Aaron headed to Egypt on foot, for they were walking. And Moses told his brother, "You take the staff, I'll do the talking." The brothers approached the Pharaoh at the place where they would meet, and Aaron's staff became a snake when he dropped it at his feet. Moses said, "Don't shoot the messenger, but there's something you should know. God told me to tell you to let his people go." The Pharaoh merely snickered. "You think that you were slick, but if you want my slaves, it takes more than parlor tricks. Now you two be gone from here. I've better things to do. I'm supposed to be getting pampered, not catering to you." As the brothers left, they said, "We will return some day. For now we'll let God tend to you and let you have your way." God turned the water into blood. Then came the frogs and lice. Even when he brought the flies, God still tried being nice. Moses said, "Now listen, Pharaoh, God ain't got time to play. Either free the Israelites or we'll do this the hard way." The Pharaoh said, "Come on then, bring on your rain and snow. But you will not convince me to let all my slaves go." Moses said, "If this looks bad, then I'd be willing to bet that if you don't let God's people go, you haven't seen anything yet." God took half the cattle, then came the bulls and hail. The Pharaoh was hard-headed, but God knew he would prevail. Moses said, "Dude, just give up. You fight against the odds. I'm not the one attacking you. This is the wrath of God." Even Pharaoh's first hands begged that he would see the light. All of them were scared to see God work at his full might. "Open up your eyes, Pharaoh. His wrath you can't avoid. Just give this God guy what he wants, for Egypt is destroyed." They said, "Please free these people, and let them blow this joint." But Pharaoh was plain stubborn. He had to prove a point. After locusts and full darkness was the death of the firstborn. The Pharaoh should have listened. He should not have made God scorn. Finally, Pharaoh had seen enough. The 10th plague did him in. He told Moses to get out and not come back again. So Moses gathered Israel and claimed, "You all are free. Now go get your essentials and then come follow me." God sent to them an angel to guide them day and night, but the Pharaoh followed close behind, not letting them leave his sight. So Moses led the Israelites from Egypt to the waters. This was 600,000 men, excluding sons and daughters. Israel was worried. "The Egyptians are on our hide." Moses said, "Don't panic, for God is on our side." He walked up to the Red Sea, and with his staff in hand, the waters parted down the middle, revealing just dry land. Israel made their way across, but the Egyptians were drawing near. So Moses turned around to Pharaoh and told him, "This ends here." Moses lifted up his staff and said, "You shall not pass." The sea swallowed the Egyptians, knocking Pharaoh on over. Now I wasn't there, but believe me when I say, the chariots of Egypt are still there to this day. Father Abraham's a different story, but for the sake of lore, the Israelites are his many sons God promised him before. When Pharaoh was defeated, they all broke out in song. It's written in the Bible, they partied all night long. And when the morning came, God said, "Gather up the band. I got you out of Egypt to bring you to the promised land." Well, now the task was simple. All they had to do was walk. It would only take 11 days, but they would rather talk. They murmured and they whispered, "This Moses guy's a fool. I think that we were better off under the Pharaoh's rule. Sure, we all were slaves, and some of us were beat, but at least we had some food when it was time to eat." Now the Israelites were foolish. They knew not what they had. They wished to return to Egypt. Their ignorance made God mad. He said, "I delivered you from Egypt. I parted the Red Sea. What else do you believe in if you don't believe in me?" But even then the good Lord fed them. They did not go without. He dropped it from the heavens to give them faith without a doubt. God tried his best to feed them, giving plenty to suffice. But they were so dim-witted they messed up a free meal twice. They were just too good to eat it, or at least that's what they thought. So they left it on the ground, and it began to rot. I feel bad for Moses, though, 'cause he's the one that struggled. And every time that they messed up, poor Moses got in trouble. And God called Moses on the mount so he may write the law. Just a handful of commandments. There were 10 in all. When Moses was up on the mountain, Israel began to cry, "He's brought us to the wilderness and left us here to die." They asked Aaron what to do, for he was Moses' brother. "Moses took his God and left. We have to make another." Aaron agreed. "He isn't here, so I'll speak on his behalf. Just give me all your earrings and we'll forge a golden calf." God said, "The Israelites are foolish. Their ignorance just won't stop. Keep your distance, Moses. I'm about to blow my top." Moses said, "Have mercy, Lord. Don't do anything rash. Remember your promise to Abraham before you go halt smash." God said, "Okay, Moses, just go lay down the law. But if I hadn't promised Abraham, we wouldn't be here at all." When he reached the mountain's base and saw what Israel did, even though he'd calmed God down, Moses flipped his lid. The Israelites were dancing as Moses looked around. He took the 10 Commandments and he smashed them on the ground. He destroyed the golden calf that they had made with all their trinkets. He stirred it in the water, and then he made them drink it. And even after Moses tried to spare them from God's wrath, he said, "The ones that followed God come forward and slayed the other half." I could sit here all day and talk about this stuff, but I'm going to wrap it up right here. I think I've said enough. In the end, they never made it to the promised land, because every time God fed them, they would turn and bite his hand. He gave us 10 Commandments of how we should behave, but even God can't save you if you don't want to be saved.